And a little further along EDSA, you can see motorcycles being ticketed for using the bicycle lane. Actually, most of the riders are leaving the bicycle lane as soon as they see the enforcers. Some are more brave, like that guy in the orange. He was pretty close before he finally left the bicycle lane. So according to enforcers, this rider was flagged down for a bike lane violation, and they said the plate that's attached does not actually belong to this vehicle. Allegedly, it belongs to a different vehicle. And allegedly, he doesn't have a valid registration on this bike. I assume they're going to impound it. There have been situations in the past where the MMDA have impounded motorcycles, and then later at the impound, they found out it's actually stolen. And then they coordinate with the PMP to get it back to the owner. The penalty for using bicycle lane is much less than the bus lane. So honestly, I think a lot of people see it as worthwhile because most of the time you will not be apprehended. And if you do get apprehended, it's not too expensive. And I'm sure that some of you might remember this lady enforcer. Actually, she was recognized by the ombudsman. She was given an award. It's always nice when enforcers are recognized and given a little bit of praise. A bonus would be nice, eh? But yeah, she was given an award and she deserves it. She's very hardworking. You've seen her in many of my videos. That rider did leave the bicycle lane, but it's too late because the enforcer already saw him. He is very smartly dressed. I like his style. But of course, he will be ticketed for using the bicycle lane. There's a guy on a red bike. Okay, he left now. A cyclist seems happy to see the enforcers, although good thing he didn't get clipped by that vehicle coming in for parking. I'd say they're being pretty generous in their enforcement right now, with a lot of riders simply leaving the bicycle lane. But some, well, they just keep going and going, and then it's almost like they're challenging the enforcer. Are you really going to pull me over? I'm sure he's going to be frustrated at getting a ticket, but reality is he was in the bicycle lane. But then at the same time, come to EDSA at pretty much any time of the day, especially during rush hour, and you'll see the bicycle lane is just full of motorcycles. Because if it cannot be enforced, then it's not really doing what you intended, right? And remember, bicycle lanes cost millions of pesos per kilometer, especially when they install those little solar road studs. Those are 9,000 pesos each. Now, I'm not necessarily complaining. I understand you have to invest in infrastructure and you have to promote active lifestyle, active transport, reduce the volume of vehicles and everything like that. But the reality is, most of the time, the bicycle lanes are full of motorcycles. I used to ride my bike and I don't do it anymore. It's just too dangerous. Constantly being bumped by riders going in and out of the bicycle lane. But still, look, you can see there is a healthy number of cyclists here this morning. My expectation is that as soon as the riders get past the enforcers, they're going to go back in the bike lane. In fact, let's walk forward and just double check that theory. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, there you go. Some riders are a bit more careful though. They wait until they're further ahead of the enforcers before they go back into the bike lane. In fact, I literally just saw an MC taxi that was waved out of the bike lane, and then only meters later he went straight back in. Well, it's the same thing we saw with the bus lane before. You wave people away, and as soon as they get past the enforcers, they go back in. That's why they had to start really issuing tickets, ticket, to make people realize that they're serious about enforcement and that there's a consequence. You see the driver there gave his license. I think the penalty is 1,000 pesos for the first apprehension, which might be a lot to some people, but I feel like a lot of people are willing to pay that to avoid the traffic. Unlike the bus lane where it's so expensive, you really feel it at 5,000 pesos. Although some people still try their luck there anyway. That's always been the running joke, that if you want to see a bicycle lane that isn't full of motorcycles, put some enforcers in it. And it's true, it does work, but unless you can put enforcers every 100 meters, then obviously they just go back into the bike lane. See, now the enforcers are out of the road or out of the bike lane, it's full of motorcycles again. That's the reality. Unless there's an enforcer there standing in the middle, waving them away, they won't obey.